Super Bowl week was always going to be loud for the New England Patriots, but it was never going to be quiet. Even before the media circus fully arrived, one storyline had already separated itself from everything else. Not the matchup history, not the coaching chess match, not the legacy implications. The focus from the moment New England punched its ticket to Super Bowl LX has been Drake Maye's right shoulder. That reality is not going to change anytime soon. In fact, it is almost guaranteed to dominate the entire week. The Patriots and the Seattle Seahawks may be preparing for the biggest game of the season, but for Patriots fans, players, and coaches alike, everything begins and ends with Maye's health. Until there is absolute clarity, the news cycle will orbit around his injury status, dissecting every practice report, every quote, and every visual clue with microscopic attention. This is the cost of having a superstar quarterback. It's also the cost of reaching the Super Bowl with a player whose physical condition is anything less than unquestionably pristine. The situation escalated late last week when Maye was listed as out for Friday's practice due to a right shoulder injury and an illness. That alone was enough to set off alarm bells, even though context matters. Earlier in the week, Maye had been listed as limited because of the shoulder, which suggested he was trending in the right direction. The addition of an illness to the report likely explains the downgrade, but nuance rarely survives the Super Bowl news cycle. Once the words missed practice and right shoulder appear in the same sentence, speculation becomes unavoidable. This is not the type of distraction the Patriots want during the most important week of their season. However, timing is the one thing working in their favor. The injury occurred 9 days before the Super Bowl, thanks to the 2-week gap between the conference championship games and the final. That extra time is invaluable, especially for a quarterback dealing with an upper body issue. If this were a normal regular season week, concern would be significantly higher. But with extra rest, limited travel early on, and a carefully managed practice schedule, the Patriots have more control over the situation than they otherwise would. The injury itself came during the AFC Championship game against the Denver Broncos, a contest that already demanded everything from Maye physically. In brutal winter conditions, Maye took a hit that drove his right arm into the frozen turf. It was the type of impact that doesn't always show immediate consequences, but can linger in the days that follow, particularly for a throwing shoulder. Both Maye and head coach Mike Vrabel have publicly downplayed the injury. That is not surprising. Coaches almost always minimize health concerns during the postseason, especially when they involve quarterbacks. Players, particularly those wired like Maye, are even more inclined to shrug off pain. It's part competitiveness, part leadership, and part understanding of how narratives can spiral out of control. But downplaying an injury doesn't mean it doesn't exist. The reason this storyline has legs is simple. The Patriots are a different team if Drake Maye is compromised, even slightly. Throughout the regular season, Maye's arm talent was the foundation of New England's offense. He led the AFC in passing yards, finished near the top in efficiency metrics, and consistently punished defenses that dared to play conservatively. His ability to make throws to all levels of the field forced opponents to defend every blade of grass, opening up the running game and creating favorable matchups for his receivers. In the postseason, the equation has changed. Defenses have tightened, weather has interfered, and Maye has absorbed significant punishment. Over 3 playoff games, he has been sacked 15 times. That alone would be enough to wear down any quarterback, let alone one navigating his first deep postseason run. The Broncos game in particular showcased both Maye's resilience and his vulnerability. The passing numbers were modest, but the conditions were extreme. What stood out more than anything was how often Maye had to create on his own. His legs became the offense's lifeline, culminating in the game's only touchdown on a 6-yard scramble. That play sealed the Patriots' trip to the Super Bowl, but it also highlighted how much physical strain Maye has absorbed. Quarterbacks don't run like that without consequence. Hits accumulate, shoulders take impacts. And eventually, the body sends reminders. This is why the shoulder matters so much heading into a matchup with Seattle. The Seahawks defense may not be the most dominant unit Maye has faced this postseason, but it is aggressive and opportunistic. They finish the year among the league leaders in sacks and are particularly effective at generating pressure without excessive blitzing. That kind of defense forces quarterbacks to make quick decisions and, critically, to trust their arm strength. If Maye's shoulder limits him in any way, Seattle will sense it quickly. Defensive coordinators don't need official injury reports to know when a quarterback is hesitant. A slight delay, a ball that doesn't quite have the same velocity, a reluctance to attack tight windows. These are tells that defenses feast on. That's why the speculation about Joshua Dobbs, however remote, exists at all. No one realistically expects Dobbs to start the Super Bowl. The Patriots certainly aren't planning for that outcome. But the mere fact that it can be said out loud speaks to how fragile quarterback-dependent success can be. For the Patriots, the hope is that this conversation fades by midweek. If Maye returns to practice, even in a limited capacity, the narrative will soften. If he throws comfortably in open media sessions, cameras will capture it, clips will circulate, and confidence will rise. That's how Super Bowl weeks work. Visual reassurance often matters as much as official confirmation. Until then, every update will feel heavier than it should. There's also a broader context here that amplifies the attention. Drake Maye is not just the Patriots' quarterback. He is the symbol of their rapid resurgence. In 2 seasons, he has transformed New England from a rebuilding team into a Super Bowl contender. His development has accelerated expectations and revived conversations about the franchise's place among the NFL's elite. When a player like that gets hurt, even mildly, the stakes feel existential. Mike Vrabel understands this dynamic better than most. As a former player, he knows the physical toll of playoff football. As a coach, he knows how fragile momentum can be. His public calm is intentional. Panic serves no purpose. Internally, the Patriots will manage Maye's workload with extreme care, prioritizing long-term readiness over short-term optics. The irony is that this storyline may ultimately amount to nothing. Maye could be fully healthy by the weekend, deliver a strong performance, and render all this speculation meaningless. That's often how these situations end, especially with elite competitors who thrive under pressure. But until that happens, the shoulder will loom over everything. Every press conference question, every practice report, every leaked video from the sideline. Super Bowl week magnifies uncertainty, and the Patriots are living in the middle of it. For now, all anyone can do is wait. Wait for Maye to throw, wait for Vrabel to confirm, wait for the Seahawks to prepare for the quarterback they expect to face. Because if Drake Maye is right, the Patriots believe they can win this game. And if he's not, the conversation changes entirely. That's why this story isn't going away. It's not just about an injury, it's about the thin line between opportunity and vulnerability, and how quickly the Super Bowl spotlight exposes both.